Hey, have you heard? Apple just released the new 12.3 update for Final Cut Pro. Is it all hype? What is hot and what is not? I'm Dylan John, and let's quickly go over this new update together. First things first, before you update, make sure you back up Final Cut Pro by going to your Applications folder, finding Final Cut Pro, control right-clicking, and hitting Compress. If you need to jump back to the old version of FCP at any time, you can open up this zip file and you'll have that older version there for you. Apple has finally done it. We have automatic captioning in FCP. It only took about a million years, but oh boy, am I so happy that it's finally here. There are a few caveats though, so stick around, but here is how you create them. With your dialogue selected, or whatever you want captioned out, you can either go to the magic wand icon, go down to Generate Captions, and click Subtitles. Captions is what we got a few updates ago, and unless you're going for a look that should have died out in the 80s, then choose Subtitles. The other way to create them is by control right-clicking your dialogue, and then going to Generate Captions and pressing Subtitles. Before you ever create these though, I would highly recommend doing these two things first. And you only have to do this first tip once, by the way. Press Command and comma to open up your settings window. Go to Editing, and if you're an FCP nerd, you'll see that this is new down here. The default of 2 seconds is crazy long and ends up having your subtitles look like a dang novel. So change this anywhere from 0.5 to 1 second long. That ends up looking way better. The second thing I'd recommend before creating these is pressing Option A on your timeline to create an adjustment clip, and then drag that out for the duration of the dialogue or your entire timeline if you want. And we do this to create a wall basically. So when we generate our subtitles, all the subtitles sit nice and neat on that little wall. If not, they're kind of peppered throughout your timeline and it can make things a bit messy in my opinion. So to adjust your subtitles, all you do is select one subtitle and you can just press Command A. Think Command All, and Final Cut will know that you're meaning to select just the subtitles. Then, if you hop into the inspector window, you can change all of the settings like the animation style of all subtitles at once. So here's fade, something that can't and shouldn't be compared. Here's scale, depressed and negative. And these are here's highlight. I'm sure you can relate to this. And here's fill. I'm trying now. I just can't compete with You can change whether it's animated per character, word, or line. You can adjust the font, the color, the background, etc. Even if you don't at that time, maybe it's just not the right. And something else that Apple added that's kind of nice is this vertical social media safe button, which will move your subtitles up so they're not covered by your description or anything at the bottom of your social media post. Now I can hear some of you saying, this is it? These are the captions? They're pretty minimal, huh? But there is a caveat that you're gonna wanna know. You can choose any title that you want to be your subtitles, even third-party title plugins. And what I mean is if you choose this title from this plugin pack, control right-click it and press Make Default Subtitle, and then you generate subtitles, you'll see that we have better looking captions for our video. Just a heads up, this doesn't always work with every title though. So if you want subtitle options that will for sure have you covered, my buddy Dylan Bates, the Final Cut Bro, just made a brand new plugin called Pro Subtitles, which has a bunch of different types of subtitles. They look great, they're fully customizable. So I'll put the link for that in the description and in the comments if you're interested, because I think he's running a huge sale on them since they're brand new. I do want to point out that at the moment, automatic captioning or subtitles, whatever you want to call it, is only for the English language, which is a bummer for a lot of you, I realize. We have been waiting for automatic captioning for so long, and I was going to give this a fresh out of the oven rating, but since they released the most basic version of automatic captioning possible, and because of the lack of compatibility for other languages, I've since downgraded my rating to a hot bowl of soup on a warm day rating. Still great, but not exactly what we wanted. Get ready, because this one is going to make you feel like Christmas came early. They are called auto masks. And no, that's not what it does, you idiot. Let me show you what it does. So there are 3 ways to add an auto mask. You can hit the magic wand icon and select auto mask, or press the keyboard shortcut Control-Command-K. You can also find auto masks in your effects browser under the masking and keying category. And lastly, you can add one directly on any effect or color tool by pressing this little AI mask button here and selecting Auto Mask. Auto masks immediately recognize people, parts of people, and objects in your shot, and they mask it out without ever needing to track. Yep, you heard me right. Unlike the magnetic mask where you have to analyze and track your shot, you do not need to track these. Like here I have my talent's lips adjusted with an auto mask, and you'll see that as I drag this out, it locks on to her lips in real time. No tracking needed. It is absolutely insane. And you want to know the best part? They are copyable. Unlike the magnetic mask, these let you transfer your auto mask from one clip to the next, and it automatically and immediately masks whatever you had masked in that initial shot, and it makes those same adjustments on that new mask for you. Auto masks can be used for color correction and color grading, for adding effects, for sharpening specific areas of your shot, for cutting out parts of your shot, for teeth whitening, for sky replacement. For those of you who have taken my color grading masterclass, you know how exciting this is. I am going to be making a bunch more tutorials on how you can use this new tool in the coming weeks, so please subscribe down below. Now for the rating. This feature is so hot that it gets a very rare Mount Vesuvius rating. Next up is match color. Select the clip that you want to adjust, hit the magic wand, and here you can find match color. You might be thinking, Dylan John, we've had this, man. Actually, Apple totally revamped this feature with some AI magic in this update so that it no longer sucks so bad. So take this shot. Pretend that we want to match the look of the previous shots. You'll see that as I click these different clips, this feature does an okay job at matching the color and the brightness of these clips to our shot that we want to adjust. It's not the greatest, but for a quick adjustment, this could really come in handy for a lot of people. And you just hit Apply Match when you want to apply the look. Unlike the previous version of Match Color, we now have a new specific color correction type for this. So once you apply it to your clip and you hop in the inspector window, you'll notice that we have this new Match Color tool that's added. It's also been added in our color correction drop-down menu here. So now with this new update, you can hop in and fine-tune the individual sliders to better match the look that you're going for. Is match color gonna replace actually knowing how to color correct? No, but for quickly getting a very rough match across a bunch of different clips before you go in and do your thing, it's not that terrible. So where does it fall in our hot or not rating? It is getting the slightly warm seat rating from me. The next feature that Apple has added is called edit detection. Basically, if you have a video on your timeline that has already been edited, like an old video of yours, stock footage, something you exported from somewhere else, and you just control right click it and press detect edits, or go to the magic wand icon and press detect edits, or use the keyboard shortcut Shift E. Final Cut will analyze your video and automatically detect where the cuts are and split it into separate clips for you. I found that it does a good job with basic cuts, but it struggles with sequences like this, which may be obvious, but I was curious how many cuts are in the intro of a Mr. Beast video, and unfortunately, the Detect Edits feature is not really reliable with all that hubbub and flashy-dashy stuff. So when would you actually use this? Honestly, not that often, in my opinion. The biggest use case is probably if you're making a new video, but you want to reuse some footage from a past video that you did, but you don't have the project files. Or perhaps you have the footage, but frankly, you're too lazy to cut them up and color grade them again. So using Detect Edits can help give you those clips for your new video without you having to go through and cut everything up and color grade it again. This is getting a forgotten cup of coffee rating from me. Let me know if this is something that you're excited about in the comments though, because I could be totally off base here. We have also received a couple of workflow additions that are worth knowing about. There's now a new 2-up display when trimming. So for example, if we press T to bring up the trim tool and we slide our endpoint here, you'll notice that it now shows us both the end of shot 1 and the start of shot 2, which will really help you to find the right point in your shots. The same goes for just trimming the end here. It's showing the start of the following shot in the viewer on the right and the potential end of shot 1 on the left. This also works if you bring up the trim tool by pressing T and you perform a slip edit by sliding to the left or the right. The left viewer is showing the potential new start of the clip, and the right viewer shows the potential end. Even cooler is you can perform what's called a slide edit. And if you didn't know how to do this, let me know in the comments. You bring up the trim tool by pressing T, hold Option, and just move this clip. And now you're able to see the potential end of the shot before this one and the potential start of the shot after. So you can find the exact spot that you would like to park this clip. It's a nice little workflow improvement, huh? Fresh toast rating. Apple has also added a one-click way to send a video frame directly to Pixelmator Pro, which is Apple's photo editing Photoshop alternative. You can just hit the share icon in the top right here, and you'll see that now we have a send frame to Pixelmator Pro button. So this just speeds up your workflow so you can create photos and thumbnails for YouTube, social media, or your website much quicker. And if you're wanting to learn how to use Pixelmator, my girlfriend, who used to be a Photoshop nerd, has started creating some pretty awesome tutorials for that software. I'll leave her channel below if you want to edit better photos. There's also a kind of new keyboard shortcut to swap clip positions in the primary storyline instantly. You remember how in a previous update, we got the ability to just hold Option and press the up or down arrow keys to move our clip's position vertically? Well now, when you hold Option and press the left or right arrow key, it'll swap your clip or more than one clip to a different position on the primary storyline. Super handy for motor impaired editors and just anyone who'd rather keep their hands on the keyboard. This gets a nice spring morning rating from me. Have you ever wanted to copy a part of your timeline over to another project, but it's annoying to have to make sure everything is selected? Well, now you can just select the main clip on the primary storyline and press the keyboard shortcut Control-Command-A. And Final Cut will select everything that is attached to that main clip for you. So then you can press Command-C to copy, and then paste by pressing Command-V, and that whole section of your timeline and all the attached media will be pasted for you. Nice little workflow addition. It gets a tap water rating from me. And a few extra things here. Background rendering is now off by default, which for those of you who are subscribed to my channel know that this is the feature that makes your library sizes so unbelievably massive when turned on. So this is great. And also, proxy media is now generated using the HEVC codec by default instead of H.264. So how this benefits you is if you create proxy files because your timeline is not playing back well and it's just not working with your footage well, your library size now won't swell up so much since the HEVC codec has better compression and therefore smaller file sizes. They also fixed a lot of bugs with this update, too many to include on this screen actually, so I added them to the description of this video if you want to check them out. So let me know what you think about this new 12.3 update. Do you think it's hot or not? If you want to use a creative rating, please do. And do me a solid, 7 years of creating Final Cut tutorials. I really want to hit 100K, and you could help me out by pressing that subscribe button, and you'll of course learn a ton of tips. And thank you for watching. I appreciate you.